here to demonstrate how to install the response trigger kit on your Tippmann X7. We've kind of sped things up and disassembled the marker. If you're unfamiliar with how to disassemble your marker, you can refer to the maintenance section. What we're going to do, we already have the gun apart, just to kind of speed things up once again. We're going to go ahead and take the left half receiver off. We're going to go ahead and put in our flow connector fitting. As you can see, there's a hole on the side of the fitting. You want to make sure that that hole is meeting up with the hole in your receiver. So you want to make sure that it's facing downward on the receiver. So we're going to go ahead and put that into place. And we're going to go ahead and put the left side of the receiver back on. Make sure our cocking handle's lined up there. Now we have that left half back on. We can go back through and tighten up our receiver screws. I'm going to use a DeWalt drill just to kind of speed things up a little bit. Not putting very much torque on these screws at all, just getting them in there and getting them somewhat snug. Now that we got those all snugged up, we can go ahead and kind of set this off to the side for now. We'll bring in our grip frame. I already have that kind of disassembled already, just by loosening up the 3 Phillips head bolts. We'll go ahead and set that off to the side here. You can see the spot where your RT piston needs to fit in. Go ahead and put that grip half back on. And we'll change our bit here and get these Phillips head bolts tightened down. Now that we got those all tightened down, we can go ahead and pull in some of the other parts, get everything back together. I'll kind of start with the grip frame first. We'll put our trigger assembly back in, along with the selector switch safety. You want to make sure that your switch is actually in the 12 o'clock position when you're trying to slide the switch into the grip. And then from there, just rotate it down until it stops. Now we'll also bring in our gas line, kind of slide that into position there. And then we also have our receiver bolt to hold the tank adapter and gas line assembly on. We'll kind of slide that through there. Get it all tightened up. Now we're pretty much done for the grip frame assembly. We'll kind of just once again put this off to the side. Come back to that a little later. We'll get back to the main gun here. Actually, I'm sorry, we'll pick this back up. Slide it through our mag well. Put it back into the receiver. Slip your mag well forward. Make sure the back end lines up with the receiver, and it does. We'll go ahead and put the grip frame back on. Insert some of our longer push pins to hold that into place. Then from there, we're going to install our drive spring and our guide pin. You want to make sure that the guide pin goes into the back of the drive spring, and then your drive spring goes into the rear bolt plug. You're going to want to make sure that that spring goes into the hole of the rear bolt plug. Then from there, we're going to make sure we get our guide pin into the hole on the end cap. Get that all in there. Put our short receiver pin or push pin into the top one, and our longer push pin into the bottom half. Then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. Here I'm going to show you how to remove the receiver nut from the right hand side of the X7. This is the nut that's left over after we remove our screw. We want to get rid of this nut so we can have our flow control adapter pass through the receiver. A real easy way to do this is to take your bolt, thread it on the reverse side of the nut, just a couple threads, and then you're just going to tap it out with a mallet. Just like that. Set that off to the side. Here's our flow control adapter. Go ahead and put that in. Just go ahead, we're going to just snug, not too tight. Just turn it until it stops and then just give it a little extra pressure. And then from there we're going to go to our shutoff plug. We'll have to remove the shutoff plug to install our RT lines. You can use the screwdriver that's provided in the RT kit. Usually works pretty good for me. We'll just kind of turn that, and from there unthread it out. Put that off to the side. Now we have our RT hose and fittings. This is your banjo fitting. You're going to want to thread into the right hand side of the receiver. You're going to need a 1/4 inch nut driver or a flathead screwdriver. Work just fine. And you're just going to thread it in there. And as it starts to get tighter, you want to do it so it's snug. It does have an O-ring on the back, so it's going to help seal the air. And then I usually just start this one by hand. And this is your flow control fitting. This is actually the adjustment fitting for your response. I just thread this in by hand until it stops. And then just snug it with your 5/16 nut driver. And we'll go back to the other side. We'll replace our 3/16 cyclone feeder bolt. Snug that down. And then we'll also reattach to the barrel. We'll reinsert our magazine. We'll slide our foregrip back on over the barrel. You want to make sure that the holes in the foregrip line up with the holes on the receiver. Then we're going to reinstall our push pins, the longer push pin in the bottom hole, the shorter push pin in the top. And then last but not least, we have our rear sight. Go ahead and reinstall that rear sight. Just get these bolts snug. Like I said, they don't need to be over tightened. And that's it. That concludes the install of the response trigger kit on the X7.